Alright, so enough talking. Let's write our first unit test. But before writing unit test, try to understand what are unit test cases. Well, unit test cases are used to test a very small piece of code, or you can say to test a unit of your big code block. That is why we call it unit testing. So let's create a very small function and try to write its unit test cases. So first you should change your view from Android to project. Open your project, application, source, and in this source we have three directories. We have Android test, main, and test. So main is used to write our production level code which we want to ship in production. If you write unit test cases, we shall use this test directory, and in this test directory we will write our unit test cases. Android test is used to write our UI test cases or sometimes integration tests. So let's start our journey with production level code. First we will write a very simple function, and after that we will try to cover it with unit test cases. Right click, create a new object and call it email validators, and in this create a function is valid email. Pass email, return type is boolean, and we have a very small check here. If our email contains @ and our email contains dot, then it's fine. So this says if our email contains @ and if our email contains dot, that means this is a valid email. Now let's write unit test cases. For this, open your test directory, and in this we're gonna create a class, and the class name is email validators unit tests, and within this we're gonna write our test cases. So there are only two test cases. When our email is valid, it will return true, and when our email is invalid, it will return false. So to write test cases, first we have to annotate a function with test. Next we will write function keyword and provide the name of our test cases. When email is valid, should return true. So you should always try to explain everything with your unit test cases name, because it also acts as a documentation for other developer. Let's say in your company a new developer arrive. When he looked out your test cases, he will instantly get a brief idea what's going on under the hood. So you shall always explain what's going on with your test cases with this name. Just like here you can see, when email is valid, should return true. When anyone reads it, he get a clear idea what's going on. Now in this function, first we're gonna write a proper email. Let's say him@gmail.com. This is a proper email, right? It's time to grab a result in this result variable. Use our email validators is valid email and simply pass your email. So we are expecting it shall return true. So just to verify, we have here assertTrue and pass your result. So if your result is true, your test will pass, otherwise it fails. Just click here, run email validator unit test. By the way, unit test cases will be executed on Java virtual machine, and that is why it is a lightning fast. It's very quick if you compare it with integration testing or UI testing, and that is why most of the companies prefer unit test cases more over UI and integration test cases. As you can see, our test is passed. Cool. So now we have one more test case, and that test case is what will happen if my email is invalid. So function when email is invalid should return false. Just create here an email him@gmail.com. Of course it's a wrong email, and we shall expect our function return false. Email validator is valid email, pass your email. Use assert false. Execute it. Just click on this play icon, run email validator unit test cases. Okay, so here you can see it passed successfully. That means if we pass correct email, it shall return true. If we pass a wrong email, it shall return false. Now if I change it with assertTrue, just see what will happen. It is a wrong behavior, of course. Our is valid email function will return false for this particular email because email is wrong and we are expecting here true, which is entirely wrong. So assert false, that means everything is working. Re-execute it and your test case is passing. This is how you shall write your unit test cases. It's very simple, it's very fast because it will be executed on Java virtual machine. I hope you are comfortable with unit test cases. Alright, so we are done with this particular video. In this video, we are just writing our first unit test cases and try to remove all of the fear we have in our mind for unit test cases or testing.